welcome down to the latest episode of the Boydens Prop-Cast. Today we're joined with Paul Buck, Director of Sales and Letting today. I'm sure many of you at home have seen him on webinars, kind of market updates, all kind of things, Paul. So I thought I'd steal Paul at the end of 2025 and kind of do 2025 in review, the highs, lows and what is next for the UK property market. Well, I think that people at home might kind of wonder, Paul, what is your story? Kind of the first thing I've done with everybody that we've interviewed is kind of a little bit of a backstory about how you came into agency and how you came to join Boydens, 10 years ago now.
It is 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago. So came into agency, feels like a long time ago now.
Yeah.
25 years ago this year. So back
quickly.
Back in the millennium, yeah, crikey. I'm feeling old now. I joined a corporate, as like most of us do. I used to manage stock up and down the country for a large, well-known supermarket brand. That was quite good. As with all things corporate, you get to learn things very, very quickly. I did about 7 year stint then, and then I moved from there on to family-run businesses.
So that, when you were in the corporate, it was just kind of solely management of property, was it?
Management of property,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
So I'd look after the properties, and we'd have a lettings team who would work with the corporate brand up and down the country to let the properties. Then they'd come back to me and we'd manage them on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
A lot easier back in those days than it was at the moment, but that's basically where I started.
Okay. And then you were saying you then came into more of a family-run kind of firm. And,
so left there, went into a family-run firm, did a stint there. They sold, and then I moved to another family-run firm. They sold.
It's not a trend of things to come.
No, they sold to the same company, to be fair. And then joined here 10 years ago, which has literally flown by.
Yeah. Well, we've certainly grown and changed in certain ways in the 10 years. You know, we've streamlined certain things, and the service that we provide now, I feel has really increased on another level.
Different. Completely different.
Absolutely. So, Paul, thanks for sharing a little bit about yourself there. But reason why hopefully people are listening and watching at home is kind of a bit of an insight on 2025. Overall for the team, how's it been?
It's been an interesting year. I think it's been dominated by Renters' Rights Act.
Yep.
We won't go into that too much. We've done lots on that already, but that has been a major factor in this year.
It's been looming over the whole year, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been looming over us for 2.5 years, and it's the unknown of what is it, what does it represent, how is it going to affect an agent, how is it going to affect a landlord. You know, unless your head is under the sand, you would have been aware of it.
Yeah.
But that aside, it's been an interesting year. We've seen developments. We've seen landlords looking to expand, gaining a bit more confidence.
Yep.
The market we've seen continue to be resilient regardless of all of this. Rents continue to increase.
Yeah.
Stock, however, is problematic in terms of the numbers of properties coming to market. And that has reduced.
It's always been a concern, hasn't it? Even since kind of 2019, I suppose, 2018, 2019, we have just seen that kind of lack of stock. And, please do at home watch back our most recent webinar, but I was shocked to see that November to November, stats on rents have still increased across the board at circa 7%, and one beds, 8.3% increases in one bed. So it just goes to show that there is still that lack of stock about. Really.
There is, and you're reaching the point of affordability questioning now. So the rents have got so high. Is it becoming too expensive to rent now? We are starting to see regions now where they're starting to plateau. Thank God. So that it can still remain a viable option for people who want to seek.
I was chatting to Nathan earlier this week, and there was we're hopefully, fingers crossed, getting a property on that's kind of £2,750 a month, and I just think that's a lot of money for someone to find just for a rent, and this is a 4-bed detached property in Housewood, so it's not Knightsbridge or anything like that, is it? No. So it has been a year of, I suppose, uncertainty, lots of stops, but it shows with the stats that the market has kept moving, certainly
absolutely
on the letting side, hasn't it?
Yeah. As I say, the need is always there, the demand is always there for property. Interesting to see what happens next year.
Indeed. That in mind, have you noticed any kind of major shifts in behaviour from landlords or even letting agents? Have you seen any kind of major changes?
I think from letting agents, certainly this year, there was, not all letting agents, but speaking to a lot of letting agents, there was a lot who have kind of not discredited the Renters' Rights Act, but kind of just thought, it's not going to happen. It's been sitting there for 2.5 years, and we'll worry about it when it comes in. Now all of a sudden the guidance has been released, and everyone's like, oh crikey.
Bit of backpedaling.
Exactly. So almost, now there seems to be, not us obviously, but there seems to be a bit of a panic setting. I think it's, to a degree, the landlords as well. Certainly doing some of the tenancy health checks that we've been doing since the webinar. It's that lack of understanding. I think I saw a stat the other day that only 7% of landlords are aware of the full reach of the Renters' Rights Act.
Right.
So there's a lot of educating of landlords that needs to take place.
Yeah. Well, we've seen it again. It's hark back onto the webinar, but people that have checked in then for tenancy health checks and spoken to after it, being told something by an agent or by their friend who's got a lot of lets and kind of go, no, that's not the case right now. That will be the case come next year or something like that. So there is certainly some.
You see all over Facebook. So landlord groups on Facebook. We have a little look at them, and some of the information going backwards and forwards, and thinking, no, that's not right.
No.
Where are you getting that from? So it is a complex piece of legislation. But going back to your original question, landlords, yes, we have seen a change in landlord behaviour. I think, especially those landlords who've had 1 or 2 properties, are potentially looking to go, is this now for me? I might want to sell this as an ongoing concern. And obviously they're speaking to Josh. But then we're also seeing other landlords who are excited by the prospects and who are expanding an existing portfolio or even entering the sector as fresh landlords. But in a manner of, rather than I'm going to self-manage, entering, but then using an agent's expertise to overcome the problems of legislation compliance.
Would you say it'd be fair that landlords are maybe looking at it more as a business, that their properties are as a business, and those businesses need to work for them more than there's a lot of landlords that, as we call them, accidental landlords, or landlords that maybe bought something 20, 30 years ago now, and they've kind of just muddled with it, and they've made a bit, they've lost a bit.
They've had a perfect tenant who pays the rent, they don't annoy each other, and it's just been ticking over. I think the key thing there, you hit on it there, and treating it as a business, is the Act, the Renters' Rights Act, will demand a landlord is proactive in the manner in which they look after a property. It can't be the case of we'll just allow the tenant to report anything as and when, and we may or may not deal with it.
Those times
have changed. So it's going to flip it. So it will be more now as a business and running the business proactively.
And with those extra kind of the extra rights that are there with the why can't I think of what a 7,000 fines.
Oh, the fines.
Sorry, how can I forget the word fine?
The fines, they released something, didn't they? So we were aware of the £7,000 fine and the £40,000 fine for repeated or serious. but then they've released a fine schedule, and there's guidance online that we have shared in a blog about, and that guidance is from central government to local authorities of how they should impose the fines.
Imposing them,
And when you look at, I mean, at the moment what we have is like a fine structure in place for a landlord who has seriously breached current legislation. These fines, starting at £7,000, could be charged purely for an admin error.
Okay.
Which doesn't make a landlord a bad landlord.
No.
Does it? It's about compliance, and that's the scary side, and that's what we're trying to get across. Because a lot of landlords will consider, well, I'm a good landlord, and yes, you are a good landlord. Absolutely,
the property's in good order. X,
You're looking
Y, Z,
after the property. You do everything that you need to do, but did you serve something correctly, or did you reply within a set amount of time? No, you didn't. That potentially is a fine.
Yeah,
and so that's the scary thing.
So my next question, Paul, was going to be, what were the standout moments for landlords this year? But obviously, the Renters' Right Act is there.
Yep.
And I think it's hard to look past that. Really, there's not. Other than that, there hasn't been.
Well, it's when you consider it's the biggest change in how we do lettings and how a landlord manages a property for the last 30, 40 years.
Then
it's quite significant. Yeah, I mean,
you're not going to get any bigger than that.
It rewrites the rule books. In your existing tenancy agreement's going to go. You're going to have a periodic tenancies. The whole thing's a change, and it's a lot to get your head around.
Yeah, absolutely. Any big wins though, or pleasant surprises from a compliance or market standpoint at all?
I think pleasant surprises is the willingness of landlords to engage with us, with agents. I think there is what the Act has done has kind of created a recognition that's like landlords do need to change how they look after their properties, how they rent their properties, and that in itself will help increase the manner in which properties are marketed, the manner in which properties are looked after. So I think that's quite significant.
Do you think the right landlords are panicking?
I think you've got...
Because you've got some of the landlords, unfortunately, that are so behind with the times, and their ignorance is bliss, isn't it? That
to a degree, yes.
Element of it.
Well, if you think, I mean, so as an example, so been here for 10 years, I've worked for 10 years. In those 10 years, there's been something like 16 pieces of legislation that have come in, and I think landlords have been bombarded with so much legislation, but they haven't seen the net result of people being fined. So EPC has been one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has been fined for not doing an EPC.
Yeah.
And how long have we had that?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
So what's happened is, because it's been dealt with in a reactive manner by the enforcement authorities, it's kind of like cry wolf. It's like we're bringing all this legislation, but not actually going to enforce it. Whereas this is incredibly different. On the 27th of December, they have local authorities have to confirm how they're going to enforce it in a proactive manner. And I think that's the important thing for agents to try and get across to landlords. It's not just another piece of legislation.
Have we heard anything from our local authorities in our neck of the woods as of yet? Or do you expect that we will hear from them on the 27th? Or do you think it'll be early year?
I should hope we hear from them, because government sets out the framework. And then it's down to the local authority how they're going to enforce it. So really what we should hear from each local authority is a set of guidance of how they're going to enforce it, and possibly a fee schedule, because the fee schedule that's been published is the guidance. And that's the starting from. It's down to the local authorities.
So would they, if they were running it like a business, they would set up a department and they would go out and find these, and because the fines are a high level, then it warrants the proactivity for them to do it.
They get to keep the fine as well. And I think in the here and now, it's very difficult for a local authority to find a landlord. But when you consider every landlord has to register onto the database, all of a sudden it's all there.
Yeah.
We can start at A and work all the way through.
Go through it. Yeah.
There's no time spent looking. You have that data immediately in front of you.
Mm-hmm. So improvements. I think we have seen, as you say, agent behaviour. I've got a question. What improvements have you seen in landlord agent behaviour or regulation adoption? I think people showing up to our webinars is a perfect example of that. And you saying that people are getting on board with these parts, and hopefully some of those properties that aren't fit for human inhabitation, etc., should go or disappear from the rental sector.
Hopefully. I reserve judgment. It'd be interesting to see, maybe say 2 or 3 months after the 1st of May, as to how they are going to enforce it. Is it going to be proactive, or is this all scaremongering? I don't know. But certainly, yes, unfortunately, there are landlords out there who so far have managed to avoid all current legislation, not get fined, still repeatedly let out poor properties. And it's really those landlords that ought to be focused on. So I hope that they will focus on that and not just do a broad brush attack people who've just done basic admin errors.
Because that is the danger, is the people at easiest sight are often the first ones to be found out as such. So now looking, I know it's not very fun to look at the lowlights as such, Paul, but what's the biggest challenges or letdowns this year, really?
I think the biggest challenge we've had this year is possible fallout on sales. That's been a challenge. The expectation has been quite high. We know that they're looking to reform the sales process. We carry out the RIC survey every month. I speak to David. We analyse how long things are taking to get through. And they just seem to be getting longer and longer and longer. I mean, I know I bought my property just over a year ago. I think that was about 4 months. And it was just 2 or 3 of us in the chain tops. But certainly from leaseholds, they can be 6 months upwards.
I think there's so much in the sales side now, especially in leasehold, that solicitors want to make sure that they aren't going to come up against something to come back for, whereas, they've got their due diligence to do, they've got a buyer's due diligence, and often they're first time buyers, so they're taking everything that the solicitor says as gospel, so they want everything done. And then there's also the mortgage company in there as well that want their due diligence done with these leaseholds. It is just taking a long time on that front, isn't it?
It's a very. I started off my career back when I was 17 in a conveyancing office, and I don't think the system has changed.
No.
But the process certainly about applying for searches, etc. Since those days.
No, I think it's been that way for a long time.
I mean that in itself really causes problems. Can take weeks to get searches or even applied for. Is very much a paper shuffling exercise. But as I say, that's the reforms. The reforms should hopefully deal with that, which they're consulting on at the moment.
In terms of for ourselves, though, we don't suffer from that many fallouts in terms of the sales going through and then it falls out of bed. So
I think the beauty we've got dedicated sales progressors. That is their primary role, isn't it? Just to get them through.
They are there to make sure it goes into fruition as such. But even we are, with our low fall through rate, we are even looking at kind of reservation agreements, those kind of things for 2026, in which both parties sign a reservation agreement. They put kind of an amount of funds in to show their intent to purchase, and then there's stipulations as to when and how, why, if they can pull out, just to try and really make sure that if someone has agreed to buy something, that they see it through, and that's ourselves, who has, as I say, have got that low percentage of fall throughs. But there's I think the average is 33%, isn't it? Third of them do that, really.
I can understand the frustration especially if you're a first time buyer and you're 6 months down the line and you still haven't completed.
Yeah, living at mum and dad's.
It'll drive you around the twist. And I totally get it. It definitely needs reforming.
And then lowlights on the letting side, principally because of the stock issue, having to let down so many tenants on finding properties. That's never a nice thing to do, is it?
No, I think we looked at this. There's about 19 applicants per property.
Crikey. Wow.
So we generally do block viewings, but it's not nice because you have a lot of people who want to apply.
Yeah.
Good quality tenants.
Various stories as to reason why they are moving,
absolutely.
and they're not, many of them aren't moving for the fun of things. They're moving for work for that kind of thing. So I'd say that would be our kind of lettings low point on that front. But I'm going to bypass a couple of those questions because I think there's a lot of confusion within legislation, but I don't think we'll get on that. But let's reflect more recent history, reflecting on kind of the autumn budget, what stood out, good, bad, anything to think of.
We had a close shave in terms of national insurance, because that was a concern on the run up to the budget. There was lots of leaks about that, so that was quite nice to learn. I mean, upon reflecting, the budget had more of an issue on the build up to the budget than the budget actually had in itself.
For the property market. Yeah, I wish they'd just got on with it.
It stalled the market for easily 6 weeks.
Yeah,
didn't it?
Yeah.
And we've been doing this for a long time. When we knew once the budget was over, give it a week, things returned to normal, and they have.
Yeah.
Things have returned to normal.
Yeah, what we 12th of December today, and Natalie downstairs was saying we've already tied up 3 deals as of yesterday. I was like, that's not really normal for the 11th of December.
No,
actually.
We just had that stalling, that 6-week stalling because of the budget. I mean, looking at the budget, yes, it's you have your mansion tax, but they're not generally something that will affect us. And that's not until April 2028 anyhow. Be interesting to see how they start the valuation process in April next year, and on what basis they're going to do that. But other than that, I think
because there's going to be quite a lot of arguments because there's some big houses in our area which square footage wise you'd probably deem are over £2 million, but they've had families in them for the last 50, 60 years. They haven't got central heating. The roof needs redoing, and it needs redecorating. And some of these houses, 4,000 or 5,000 square foot, is probably the best part of 500 to 800,000 to actually renovate those properties. So if they were to go on the open market, they wouldn't be £2 million. So it is going to be very interesting to see who gets pulled into doing those and everything. No,
didn't want to do that. No.
We'll leave that to someone else. But as you say, a slight increase on the profits, 1%. But other than that, we kind of not got away, but it was very uneventful for us.
It was uneventful, as I say. It did more
side.
damage on the build up to, again, very similar to the renters' rights. The damage that's caused in the last 2.5 years is ridiculous. And it's exactly the same with the budget.
So whilst we're on the Renters' Rights Act, for those maybe that are listening that maybe don't know us from Adam and haven't been on any of our webinars and those kind of things, what is the current state of the Renters' Rights Act that will keep you to a minute and a half?
Righty. Okay, so 27th of December, local authorities have to report to Secretary of State on how they're going to proactively enforce. All right. Nothing then happens until the 1st of May, when we lose Section 21. Every tenancy agreement is periodic with immediate effect. The tenants have the right to request a pet. You cannot decline it without good reason. Section 13 notices is the only apparatus to increase your rent once a year. The notice periods have increased. It has to be evidence-based. Tenants have the rights or the free right to refer it to the first tier tribunal.
Yep.
There are new grounds under Section 8.
Yep.
There's like 35, 34 new grounds now that can be used in order to secure possession, because you cannot use the Section 21.
Yep. But that's one thing to really put in there. Although the Section 21's gone, there will still be a number of reasons why you can get your property down. Yeah. One of which is to sell them, family move in, non-payment of rent or delayed rent. Yeah, there's still a lot of mechanisms to get the property back.
It's been the default, hasn't it? To be fair, we've been lazy. We want possession, we'll issue a Section 21.
Yeah.
There were 17 different grounds prior at the moment, and they've vastly increased those. So yeah, it just means that we need to look at a specific ground. Then obviously there's the fines involved as well, which are horrendous.
Yeah. So
how did I do?
That's not bad, Paul. Yeah. That was not bad. That was good. But people might want to just play that back a few times in their head to get that. But
have a look at the webinar. Yeah, an hour and a half webinar talk.
Send a message below, or we'll soon send a link through. And that was really great hour and a half in which we had some great Q&A with current landlords. We had over 150 people live on there on the night, and that was really good fun. Actually, really enjoyed that. But apart from those people that were on our webinar, do you think landlords are genuinely preparing for that that act coming in?
I think they want to prepare. But you don't know what you don't know. And again, this is a very complex piece of legislation. The guidance is well over 11,000 words. And you do need to find a dark room to get your head around it. And because it's such a seismic change on how you do things, it's a lot to consider. And I think, most landlords know the basics, don't they? And that has served them well over the years. I think this is probably going to scare. I mean, I just having a chat with the tenancy health checks that we have with landlords, there is genuine fear about whether or not they are compliant. But we make a point of saying, if you do everything, then you're compliant. It's only if you don't do things that there is an issue. But it just means the mindset needs to flip from being reactive to proactive. Yeah. You now have to proactively look after your tenant and your property, and you have to record everything. That's the thing. So I think what a few landlords, or quite a lot of landlords, have realised now is that I do not have the time. Yeah. I work full time. Yep. And I do not have the time to do this. So they're now actively seeking to engage agents. To take that burden away from them.
And also, it's if you do instruct someone like us, you've just got that peace of mind that you know that everything's being done correctly. And when the time comes to either wanting the property back or selling it, then you've got that extra helping hand of us doing it. You're not going to be ran around by the tenant, because we've seen that people have been sitting a little bit more. If they're waiting for a council house or something like that, the council actively tell people to stay in the property. And if you're doing it yourself, then it's a lot harder and a lot more costly to do it without the help of us for it, really.
Because we know what we know. We know how to do things in the most efficient manner to get it over the line.
Yeah, absolutely. But enough on the letting side. Sales, you spoke about how it stalled 6 weeks prior to the to the budget, but overall, how do you feel the 2025 sales market has been?
It's been a positive year. It has been a positive year. I think there was obviously we had a year or so ago levels shot through the roof, didn't they? Value shot through the roof, and we've had some sellers who have struggled to move away from that and recognise that the market
isn't where it was.
It has changed, and they've been perhaps a little slow in adapting to that. And unfortunately, what has happened is you've seen those properties stick. But what we have seen is motivated sellers coming to market are attracting motivated buyers.
Getting on at the right price.
It's key.
And it's there.
Absolutely key. And there's there's lots of people. Everybody loves a deal, don't they? And there'll be lots of people who say, well, let's just try it on the market at this.
Yeah.
But we know for a fact that if you test the market at above market rates,
you end up with less for it at the end of it.
Exactly it. That's exactly it. You end up with less. Whereas if you go to the market at a competitive rate,
then you
achieve what you're
there.
looking to achieve, which is to sell your property.
And in terms of us as a levels of sole subject contract figures, as in numbers, we're very similar amount to 2024, 23 and also even 22. So we're seeing a very similar amount. And I as an agency, we are very well established, and we have some fantastic loyal customers that do come back to us over the years. And I think that we have a fairly nice consistent amount of sales going through, whereas other agents that maybe were getting all ritzy and blingy, in 20 to 22, they're flying along selling loads, maybe haven't quite got the same techniques or experience as what we do and our teams do to actually get sales across the line and completions and handing over keys, really. So I think that's something to really take into account.
That's where you earn your money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Getting it across the line.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Yeah, absolutely. But in terms of the budget, I know we spoke briefly on the budget earlier, but do you think any of those areas might change the sales market in 2026? Or
no, I don't think so. I mean, it's you. I would imagine the higher end of the market, who are subject to the mansion tax, will be potentially reviewing their position. So you might see an adjustment in that market. More come into market, but then again, they would need to consider the value in which they come to market. But no, I don't see it affecting the day-to-day sales at all. No.
And I think with mortgage rates just slipping back slightly, I'm doing a remortgage on my own property, and I was almost pleasantly surprised that it has come back a little bit. Well, I got 3.75 or something like that, which sounds like a hell of a lot more than what it was. Which was, I think, 1.8 when I first did it X time, but I was expecting over 4%, 4.25, 4.5, something like that. So I think there is going to be some more affordability, and I think there's going to be another stage of people looking to move again in 2026, because of a lot of people did move in 2020, 2021. And we're another 4 years on from there, so I think that we might see quite a good market next year.
I agree, and when you talk to tenants as well, one of the main reasons tenants are actually vacating is to then go on and buy a property. They're not vacating because they're moving around, because there's a distinct lack of property available. They're literally leaving because they've managed to save up a bit of money, and they're now ready to. They've used the renting as that stopgap before they can then commit to buy a property.
Love that. I don't. Yeah, cool. I'll quickly ask this one. What should landlords be focusing on in the new year?
Renters.
Just getting yourself prepared for May, and buttoning down and making sure you're fully compliant. Really,
I think it's time to pull out the property files. Put them all in order, make sure you've got all your gas safeties, they are correct, you've got the landlord's name and address on them.
What if someone didn't have a gas safe from 2 years ago? What would they do?
Well, it is a requirement under the gas regs to retain them for 2 years.
I've lost it.
You've lost it. I think if as long as you can make justification that you've got... The key thing is that you've got an existing one, isn't it? I think that's the key thing. If you don't have the one previous to that,
speak to the gas engineer that
you
did
can
it.
Speak to the gas engineers. You can remember they are, because they keep copies, and just make sure it's been served correctly on the tenant, etc., etc. But the key thing for landlords is to think about, I can't be reactive anymore. Long gone are the days where you place a tenant, they're great, I don't hear from them, they pay me their rent on time, I don't bother them, they don't bother me.
There might be a few extra cars on the driveway.
Details. We're not worried about that. Those days are gone. That is no longer the perfect tenant, and we covered this on a few webinars ago.
Yeah.
Your perfect tenant doesn't exist like that anymore. No. It's landlords have to have schedules in place. Mm-hmm. When am I going there? Who does live in a property? Have I done all the necessary checks? The due diligence, etc., to make sure they are being proactive in the manner in which they're looking after that tenancy. That is a massive key thing.
So would that be your bit of advice for lettings to take away?
Absolutely. And if you don't know, get a tenancy health check.
And then sales side, what would you say?
Sales side is if you're looking to go to market, don't wait until Boxing Day. Mm-hmm. Put it on the market.
Yeah.
Put it on the market now. And again, just think about marketing. We know there's that golden window of opportunity, don't we, when you go to market. And I think there's this misconception, like as I mentioned earlier, we'll test it at this. Well, testing the market doesn't prove anything. It doesn't resolve anything. The key thing is to establish what is your marketing figure. By speaking to the agent, what is it that these properties are selling for? If that works for you, get it on at that level.
And it's a whole marketing strategy, isn't it, Paul? Kind of when to release it, the time of day to release it, the day of the week to release it, how to release it, make sure that you've got that front shot absolutely perfect. It's all about making sure that marketing strategy is right, because as you say, those first 2 weeks of marketing are pivotal. They really are pivotal.
And that's as I say, that's the golden time, isn't it, where you are most likely to achieve the sale. Anything over that then basically extends the marketing period. And
selling is a long enough as we touched on earlier.
If you had 6 months sales progression period as well, all of a sudden it is it's a long affair.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Paul, for sitting down with us today, and hopefully you guys at home have taken something away from today. But please do make sure you follow us both on Spotify or YouTube, and also do kind of register on Instagram, all the socials on that front, and keep an eye for our webinars coming up next year. We're also looking to potentially do a in-person seminar for those of you that are local to kind of the Essex Suffolk area. We hope to see some of you on an evening at a hotel to be confirmed. And we wish you a superb Christmas. Happy New Year, and thanks for listening to us today. Cheers, guys. Bye.